Who's looking for the finish? Still 90 seconds in the round to go.
Moses Itauma's rise in the heavyweight boxing world has been nothing short of extraordinary. At just 18 years old, he made his professional debut and quickly began to showcase a combination of raw power, speed, and tactical intelligence that most fighters only dream of developing in their careers. His story is not just one of talent, but of relentless dedication and an unwavering belief in his abilities from the very beginning. Moses's pro debut on January 28, 2023, marked the start of something special. Facing Marcel Bode, an opponent with more experience, Moses wasted no time asserting his dominance. In the opening round, he delivered a left to the body that dropped Bode's guard and followed up with a perfectly placed left straight to the jaw. Bode hit the canvas almost instantly, and before he had a chance to recover, the referee waved it off just 23 seconds into the fight. The boxing world was immediately put on notice. A new force had arrived in the heavyweight division. The knockout was shocking in its speed and efficiency. Most debutantes spend their first few bouts building up their experience, carefully navigating their way through the early stages of their careers. But Moses, with his natural ability and power, wasn't interested in taking a slow approach. He was here to make a statement. In his second fight, Moses took on Dan the Reaper Gaba, a tough, seasoned opponent who had been in the ring far longer than the young prodigy. Gaba's plan was simple. He wanted to fight from a distance, using his reach to keep Moses at bay. But Moses was relentless, closing the gap with brutal aggression. A left cross rocked Gaba early, and as soon as the Reaper's defense dropped, Moses pounced, unloading a barrage of shots that had Gaba defenseless on the ropes. After a few more punishing blows, the referee stepped in, stopping the fight. Another dominant performance, and it was clear that Moses had more than just knockout power. He had the ability to overwhelm his opponents mentally and physically. While his power was already earning him comparisons to the greatest knockout artists in boxing history, Moses wasn't just about raw strength. He had an impressive technical side to his game as well. He began to refine his approach, learning to control the pace of the fight while maintaining his aggressive edge. This development was evident in his third fight against Amin Boussetta, an opponent with a losing record but still dangerous for any rising prospect. Moses had a point to prove. From the opening bell, he came out like a beast, throwing punches with reckless abandon. Boussetta absorbed the initial flurry, but it wasn't long before Moses lined up the perfect shot, a massive left uppercut that landed flush on Boussetta's chin. Boussetta crumpled to the canvas. He managed to get up, but Moses was already in attack mode, firing off more uppercuts and forcing the referee to step in and call it off. The knockout wasn't just powerful, it was clinical. Then came Moses's fourth fight against Ramon Alberto Ibarra, an undefeated prospect who had yet to taste defeat. Ibarra was known for his solid defense and technical boxing skills, but against Moses, those attributes proved insufficient. Ibarra tried to establish distance with his jab, but Moses closed the gap effortlessly. Then, in a flash, Ibarra telegraphed a right cross, which Moses slipped without even looking. Moses responded with a quick combination that sent Ibarra crashing to the canvas. The knockout was so sudden that it left fans and commentators in awe. The official stoppage time was 35 seconds, but by then, Ibarra was already out cold, his body stiff and motionless on the canvas. While many boxers take years to become elite, Moses seemed to be evolving before everyone's eyes. His knockouts were getting faster, his footwork sharper, and his composure in the ring more refined. It was clear that this kid was something special. As his career progressed, Moses began to face more seasoned opposition. In his fight against Michal Bolos, a tough Polish fighter, Moses showed a different side of his game. Bolos opened the fight with a crisp right hand, trying to keep Moses at bay. But Moses was relentless. He stalked his opponent, applying constant pressure. A hard left hook dropped Bolos to the canvas. Bolos managed to get up, but Moses smelled blood in the water. He finished the job with a savage combination, capped off with an uppercut that sent Bolos into unconsciousness. The fight was stopped immediately. Another display of Moses's power and his ability to break his opponents down methodically. By this point, Moses was no longer a local prospect. He was becoming a global sensation. But it was time for him to face a real test. In his 9th fight, Moses took on Kazakhstan's Ilya Mazentsev for the vacant WBO Intercontinental title. Mazentsev had a solid record, with just 3 losses in his career, and was known for his toughness and durability. This was a step up in competition, and the fight was expected to be a chess match between 2 talented young fighters. The first round was tactical, with both men trying to find their rhythm. Mazentsev tried to work behind his jab, but Moses was patient, waiting for the right moment to strike. That moment came just before the bell. Mazentsev lunged forward carelessly, and Moses punished him with a slick left hand that sent Mazentsev stumbling backward. The bell saved Mazentsev, but he was on shaky legs. Early in the second round, Moses closed the distance quickly, reading Mazentsev's intentions perfectly. Mazentsev tried to land a 1-2 combination, but Moses anticipated it and responded with a short, brutal hook that dropped Mazentsev to the canvas. The knockout was emphatic, and Moses had earned his first major title. By the end of 2024, Moses Itauma had become more than just a rising star. He was now a global phenomenon, with fans and pundits alike hailing him as the future of the heavyweight division. His speed, power, and technical skill made him a force to be reckoned with, and he quickly became the #1 prospect in the world. In December 2024, Moses traveled to Saudi Arabia to face Dempsey McKean, an experienced Australian fighter with a 22-1 record. McKean was expected to be one of the toughest tests of Moses's young career, but Moses had no intention of letting anyone slow down his momentum. After an initial feeling-out period, Moses exploded in round 1, landing a devastating left overhand that dropped McKean to the canvas. McKean managed to recover, but Moses stayed calm, waiting for the exact moment to land the finishing blow. In round 2, he did just that, landing the same punch again, knocking McKean out cold. Now, with a growing reputation, Moses began to get noticed by the veterans of the heavyweight division. One of the first to step up was Britain's Dillian Whyte, a fighter known for his punching power and intimidation tactics. Whyte had been a feared figure in the division for years, but Moses was undeterred. He neutralized Whyte's power with his speed and technique, repeatedly snapping Whyte's head back with laser-like jabs. After wearing Whyte down with a barrage of shots to the body and head, Moses saw his opportunity and landed a thunderous right hook that sent Whyte to the canvas. Moses's dominant victory over Whyte confirmed that he was no longer just a prospect. He was now one of the most feared men in the heavyweight division. And as 2025 rolled around, it seemed only a matter of time before Moses would challenge for a world title. The next major test came in the form of Mike Balagon, an American fighter who had been around the block and was still a dangerous opponent despite his age. Balagon's speed and movement surprised many people, but Moses was always one step ahead. After landing a sharp left hand in the first round, Moses finished the job in round 2 with a perfectly timed hook that knocked Balagon out cold. The world was watching now, and Moses had firmly established himself as the future of the heavyweight division. With every fight, Moses Itauma proved more and more that he is the man to beat in the heavyweight division. His speed, power, and ability to adapt in the ring have made him a nightmare for anyone unlucky enough to share a ring with him. Many are now asking, could Moses Itauma be the man to dethrone Alexander Usyk and take the heavyweight crown? Only time will tell, but if his past performances are any indication, it won't be long before the young lion rises to the top. The heavyweight division is changing, and Moses Itauma is leading the charge into the future. Fans and boxing experts alike are eager to see just how far this incredible prospect can go, and whether he can fulfill the immense potential that has everyone talking.